China's economy has entered a period of low growth, and amidst a sharp increase in unemployment, vicious competition in various industries has become more severe. The freight transportation industry can be said to be facing the worst vicious competition. Let me show you how hard it is to be a truck driver these days. The trucking industry is so difficult. There are so many trucks, so many of them. They can't make the monthly payments. They couldn't afford the lease. The financial company towed their vehicles here. They are parked here. There are more than 1,000 vehicles in this parking lot alone, and it's just the tip of the iceberg. Some drivers want to give their vehicles away for free, but no one will even take them. All you have to do is help make the loan payments. Look how new this vehicle is. In recent years, foreign companies have been leaving China in droves. It has had a huge impact everywhere, especially in the manufacturing regions. For example, Guangdong Province and the Yangtze River Delta, many large, medium, and small factories as well as stores have closed and relocated. The departure of these factories has brought about a direct reduction in businesses for freight drivers. At the beginning of this year, noticeable signs have been seen already. Brothers, we have been driving for 30 years. We are veteran drivers, and now we are also out of work. It's not a good idea to operate a big truck now. I can't afford to hire a driver. If I were to hire a driver, I would lose money. I have to supplement the driver with my own money. I have been in business for more than 30 years, and this year is the worst year for me. They say that when there is no more epidemic, our industry will get better. But there is no epidemic this year, and the situation is worse than last year. The transportation industry is really in bad shape. Rates are very low. I can tolerate the low rates, but there is no work now. I've been at home for a week and there is no business. Even lowering the freight rates doesn't help. The transportation industry is really in bad shape. A private research center in China released a report in July 2023. It was titled Platform Workers Mid-Year Report. Who are the platform workers? Who is unemployed? The report reads, truck drivers are the largest group of platform workers supporting the world's largest freight transportation system. As a major contributor to the country's freight logistics, the truck driver community exceeded 30 million at one point. The dire state of vicious competition in this industry can also be seen in the following description. 62% of truckers in 2022 believed that a surplus of vehicles brought about low-price competition. The debt service pressure from auto loans is the driving force behind truckers working overtime. As environmental standards continue to rise, the life of a truck has been shortened from the previous 15 years to about 7 years. Inadvertently increasing the cost of buying a vehicle for drivers. It's also driving drivers to extend their hours, resulting in widespread fatigue driving. Similar descriptions also appeared in the 2022 survey of truck drivers' employment situation, which was released in April 2023. The report quoted the operations director of a logistics company in Hangzhou as saying, "The rebound of the whole economy hasn't been that fast since the beginning of this year, especially in the Pearl River Delta and Yangtze River Delta regions. They are two particularly economically active places. But this year, the production of factories in these two regions is down, and the volume of goods has dropped more so than in previous years. The cargo capacity around Jiangsu and Zhejiang has shrunk by almost 10 to 30%. What used to be shipped out about RMB 100 million in cargo volume is now only about RMB 60 to 70 million. This director also said that compared with 2019, the shipping capacity has basically returned to normal. But the profitability of most real enterprises has declined, and many small and medium-sized enterprises have even closed. The shipping volume has shrunk significantly, leading to a drop in shipping prices. To summarize, rising fuel prices, excessive number of trucks, and a lack of cargo sources or shipping demands are the top three main reasons for the persistent low freight rates. A logistics company in an industrial city in northeastern China has owed its workers 4 months' worth of wages, and the workers protested en masse. They gathered together shouting, "Pay back the money, pay back the money."
给钱，开支，还钱，还钱，谈不了，别谈，现在就谈不了了，要不然你买啥呀？我姓啥玩意儿？别给我钱，他现在是不是变壮了？
The above 2022 Truck Driver Employment Situation Survey report analyzes that fuel costs account for 30% of the total shipping costs in logistics enterprises. Over 69% of truck drivers report that the main reason for the change in freight prices in 2022 was the rise in fuel prices. In the market environment of oversupply, shipping companies and individual truckers lack bargaining power. Therefore, when the fuel price rises, the shipping price hasn't risen accordingly or even declined. As a result, the driver's income has been seriously reduced. In September 2023, the price of number 92 gasoline in China reached 8.88 yuan per liter, or $1.24 per liter, setting a record high. And it looks like it will continue to rise.
没想到啊，油价再次迎来调整，92号汽油。
Unexpectedly, the price of gasoline number 92 was adjusted again. After the price adjustment, drivers are very unhappy and immediately kicked into stop driving mode. Car owners have noticed the fuel price on the rise, and this price hike of number 92 gasoline has triggered complaints from car owners and affected the gas stations too. If we go to a gas station now, we'll find that very few car owners are filling up their tanks.
You sell gas for more than 8 yuan per liter. That's fine. The problem is that you mix it with alcohol. It's fine if the gas is mixed with alcohol. The problem is you're short on the amount of fuel dispensed. Even being short on the fuel dispensed is fine. The problem is you still claim that you're losing money. Every time the domestic fuel price goes up, there will be a lot of criticism. We don't know what's going on, and no one has ever explained to us the mechanism and reasons for the price increase. In the past, when the international fuel price was US 100 a barrel, the domestic fuel price was more than RMB 500. Now, when the international fuel price is US $80, the domestic fuel price is more than RMB 800. I don't know whether it is us or the government agencies that haven't learned math well. What's even more outrageous is that the petroleum company claims to have incurred a loss of more than RMB 30 billion, even though the fuel is sold at more than 8 yuan per liter. Malaysian company Petronas sells its fuel at only 3 yuan per liter, and it has made a net profit of more than 100 billion. Why is that so? Gasoline is so precious, so for drivers, the gas tank is the most important thing to safeguard. While they are resting at night, drivers in China are wary of others stealing their gasoline, sometimes even by employees in the service areas. Look, this driver is traveling with a dog to protect himself from fuel thieves. When the driver is off running errands, the dog is left to watch the gas tank in a box next to it. The fuel tanks of large trucks usually hang on the side. Thieves use high-powered pumps with thick hoses. It can pump quickly. In a few minutes, a full tank can be emptied and thieves can take off easily. The quality of trucks is also a pain for drivers. Like many vehicles made in China, it's not uncommon for trucks to self-combust.
Wow!
Look at this recent incident in Zhejiang province. The truck suddenly burst into flames, as if it had exploded. The flame shot up into the air. The scene even made the photographer wonder, what's happening? Isn't Xi Jinping still at the Asian Games in Zhejiang province? At 8 p.m. on September 25th this year, a container truck with a mainland license plate was suspected to have rear-ended a car in front of it in the westbound tunnel of the Hong Kong-Zhuhai-Macau Bridge and burst into flames. Both the car and the engine head of the container truck were caught in flames and suffered heavy damage despite firefighters responding quickly to extinguish the fire. The 2,741-meter-long tunnel is the only link between the main bridge and the city of Zhuhai. Trucks have also been one of the targets chased by the traffic police and other government departments that collect tolls and fines. Against the backdrop of the economic downturn, trucks are being watched even more closely. Chinese media reported that a truck driver received 58 tickets in 2 years since May 2021, with a total fine of more than 275,000 yuan or $38,000. What is the average income of a truck driver in China? Data from the 2022 survey report on the employment situation of truck drivers showed that the average monthly net income of truck drivers was in the range of 5,000 to 8,000 yuan, or US 700 to 1,100. It accounted for 28% of the total. Those with a net income of between US 1,100 and 1,400 accounted for 23% of the total. Together, the two groups amounted to over 51% of the total number of truckers. Truckers with an average net income of 1,400 or more per month was over 21%. Truckers with average monthly net incomes under $700 were over 27%. The situation in 2023 looks much worse. The 2-year income of the gentleman mentioned earlier may well not be enough to pay for the tickets. Drivers who receive fines say that they do overload at times, but more often than not they don't, or they don't even know that they are overloaded. What they do know is that there are endless fines to pay, and they can't keep up. The Chinese media reported this directly. When fines become part of the business, vehicles become walking leaks. It shows how common such practices are in China nowadays. Your driving license isn't valid. 10.5 points deducted. Overloading. More points to deduct. My vehicle is empty. You're empty, and an empty vehicle can be overloaded. Overloading is not an option. I don't have anything loaded. How can I be overloaded? You don't have anything, but you're overloaded, aren't you? Have you installed the container yourself? When I bought it, the container was mounted like this. Who registered you? It's you. The traffic police registered me. You go to your traffic police to file a complaint. Being a truck driver is a high-risk job. If there is a rollover incident, even if the person survives and the truck is safe, the trouble isn't over. They can be looted, with the merchandise disappearing in an instant. This has happened repeatedly over the past 20 years. Back in 2015, the Chinese media did a survey. They found that similar incidents occurred regularly in more than 18 of China's 30 provinces. It involves rice, apples, chicks, pears, etc. Looters left the scene in a flash after looting, and the police could do nothing to stop them, even after arriving at the scene. This is the scene of villagers looting apples after a truck overturned in September 2023. My tens of thousands of yuan of merchandise is lost. You people are here to loot like this. Do you have a little bit of conscience left? Leave us a way to live, okay? Please give us a way out. Sister, this isn't right for you to be like this. Is it right for you to take the apples and leave? When the traffic police arrived, they couldn't stop the villagers. The villagers openly fought with the police for the apples. The driver later told the media that he had just saved up enough money to buy a big truck, hoping to earn some money to support his family. The truck was loaded with 20 tons of apples to be shipped out of town for sale, but he didn't expect to encounter such a thing. I thought the villagers were here to help. I didn't realize that they came to loot. There were so many of them. They were calling their friends one after another, telling more villagers to come and loot. A few months ago, videos on WeChat in China and Twitter overseas showed a truck driver in Hebei province being intercepted by more than a dozen peasants as they passed through the village. The men and women dressed as peasants stopped the vehicle and demanded that the driver pay them 1, 5, or 10 yuan each. In the course of the bargaining, these villagers even said that they could settle the payment by WeChat. Radio Free Asia quoted an analyst as saying that the above phenomena appeared in the 1990s, when China's modern economy just started, and he had experienced peasants blocking roads to collect tolls in some provinces in northern China.
多少钱呢？一共呢？一共多少钱？一共10块，5块是5块是，拉1天是吧？
The reappearance of this phenomena indicates that the people's income has dropped or they have lost their source of income. He said, the peasants only earn 107 yuan a month. It was reported by the media, but it turned out to be only 80 yuan. What do you think 100 yuan, that is US $14, can buy? On the one hand, retired cadres and officials have tens of thousands of yuan a month. They stay in the hospital, not leaving, costing millions of yuan a year. On the other hand, the peasants have worked their whole life in the fields and contributed to the country. What about them? There is some truth in what this analyst said. How long does it take to make 100 yuan or $14 in the countryside? Let me show you today. Take picking peppers as an example. You only pick the red ones, right?
Yes.
It's red peppers like this. How long does it take to earn 100 yuan here?
100 yuan? It takes about 10 days.
How much money can you make in an afternoon picking peppers here? 4 hours, I estimate it to be roughly 18 yuan. How much can you earn in a day at the most?
I can make about 50 to 80 yuan at the fastest speed. I have to work for 10 hours. It's hot here. No young people would do this kind of work. I'm 71 years old, and I came here at 5 o'clock in the morning to work.
Isn't it hard for the villagers in my hometown? Auntie, how long does it take you to earn 100 yuan?
I'm an old woman, and the peppers I picked this morning are probably worth about 20 yuan. I came at 5 a.m. and work until 10 a.m. I'm 79 years old. It's hard for us old people to earn money. Even though it's hard, we have no other options. It's not easy to make money, and the money I make from picking peppers isn't enough to feed myself. My child has gone to the city to work. He's very sick. And my daughter-in-law is blind. My husband is also sick with lung cancer and has been in the hospital for more than a year. People can pick up to 20 yuan, but I can only pick up to 16 yuan at most. My hands are slow, and I've been working for more than 10 days. It's enough to feed me, but I don't have any extra money.
Here, I want to treat you to some watermelons.
Thank you.
I'll bring you some more so you can take them home.
Thank you. I've had 3 surgeries on both legs. I can't make much money, and my employer thinks I'm too old.
In our opinion, looting isn't a problem simply because China's economy is cooling down. In traditional Chinese culture, poverty has never been a reason to do bad. The Confucian classics, which used to be read widely in China, teach that a person should be moral at all times. When one is rich, one should be able to restrain oneself and not indulge. When one is poor, one should not change one's morals. And when facing power, one shouldn't sacrifice principles to bow down. One of our creative team members, an immigrant from China, recalled a story from her childhood. When she was 6 or 7 years old in the 1980s, her uncle, a peasant, told her, "A beggar is more respectable than a robber because he would rather beg than steal or rob from others." The party culture of the Chinese Communist Party, however, is driving the rapid degradation of people at every stratum of Chinese society. The party culture promotes the jungle rules of survival of the fittest. It encourages people to turn on each other and seek to gain by any means necessary. People who accept this line of reasoning don't believe in good will be rewarded with good, and evil with evil, and karma and retribution. There is no reverence for heaven and earth, no compassion, and no moral restraint. As such, they dare to do anything bad and harm others without any hesitation. As such, the various plights experienced by Chinese truckers today is an economic phenomena in China, but it's much more than an economic problem.